against this right back, Charlie, definitely.
Still the foot.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, man. Come on. You always just have to run back. I think like.
People deluded, I'm back again. Apologies, I was just finishing my lunch. Hope you're all doing well and safe. As usual, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and of course, in some cases, good night. Big up you lot if you're on YouTube. Smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't, and most importantly, join the discussion. One love to those of you on Twitch. And if you're new here, one love. If you're part of the furniture, equal one love. And again, big up you lot watching it on the replay. Now, we know Arsenal come the end of the week against Leicester. We're back in action. We know we're in Dubai. We know we had a high of defeating Manchester City 5-1. You throw in the fact that we, obviously had a terrible January transfer market following on from the summer, and we're out of the League Cup against Newcastle. Yes, Plymouth took Liverpool out. Spurs losing is nothing new, but that doesn't really solve our problems in our pursuit of silverware. And it's a mixed bag where Arsenal's concerned. On the face of it, we've got a decent record in the Premier League. We are second. We're still in the champs and all of that. But again, it feels like self-inflicted problems, and it does feel it is actually. We're talking about the same things, whether that be depth, whether that's the need for a striker, so on and so forth. Arsenal fans, you know where we're at now. Allegedly, there's been an update where Bukayo Saka's return is concerned. Mikel Arteta wants to axe allegedly 7 players, and we've been linked with Moise Kean, which follows on from the Isaacs and the Sescos. And again, as I said, our pursuit of a forward. At 4 p.m, I'm going to have Tom Canton here. Big him up. Appreciate him. He's always shown man loving this YouTube thing. Got a lot of time for Tom. 4 p.m. UK time, I'm going to have him on the platform. And yeah, if you've got any questions, bring them over there. I've got a series of several things and topics I'm going to ask him. So yeah, people, we'll get the screen shared in a bit. But yeah, big up yourselves. I hope they're not rushing back Saka so that Teta can salvage this season. Realistically, logically, and spiritually, we ain't winning a single trophy. Let him have his rest. And it's one on two sides, really, because I want to see Saka. I think if we're going to have any chance of clawing something out of this season, which has gone down the toilet, you need Saka. But then I'm with you in that if he's past fit, he's past fit. I don't know. I'm not a physio. Don't know the status of Saka. I'd imagine Saka is pushing to be fit. And, it's a first long-term injury for Saka. And what I always say, you're somewhat, no matter how much due diligence you do in terms of his rehab, you're relying on the player, innit? Because let's just say in Saka's heart, he feels he's fit. He feels he's 98% fit. He feels a little niggle. Now, I'm not saying Saka is bad, man. I'm actually saying the opposite. But if he feels that, maybe when they ask him how you feeling, he might not necessarily be honest. He say he's back and then whatever. From a club point of view, Saka might not be 100% fit, but the players are dropping like flies. You might bring him back in. I just want Saka back when he's ready, man. If that's at the end of the season or next season, fair enough. If that's in March, fair enough. What I would say, though, is that, Saka on the best of days is a difference maker, is from a footballing point of view, the messiah of our football club. But we're going to pin all our hopes on Saka, and you're going to need him to get back up to speed. You're going to need him to develop match fitness and all of that kind of jazz, really and truly. Again, until I hear either Mikel Arteta or at a push the Romanos and David Ornsteins, I look at it with a pinch of salt. Arsenal fans, we're clinging on to any hope we can get. Big up Saka and Benjamin White. There's actually an update where White's concerned. So yeah, we'll get into all of that. Shout out Marcel. No doubt he said some nonsense. These Arsenal fans saw Saka in rehab photos and got gas. The man ain't coming back no time soon. It's hamstring surgery. Again, I only want him back when he's at his best. I think this, Saka always responds to adversity. I think he'll be backing up to his best in no time. Whether that's this season is another thing. But crucially, I just want Bukayo back when we need it. And when he's fit. But I'm probably going to sound like a broken record. I think it's clear to see we dropped the ball in the summer. We dropped the ball in January, which was almost like a pit stop mid-season. Obviously, we know the January market's difficult and all those things they say. But that was a final opportunity to kind of claw things. So it's either stupidity, incompetence, naivety, or we're on track to get top 4. Nobody really cares about anything beyond that. Because in May, Again, winners win and losers explain. But when you look at it, mate, if you finish second, they'll say, well, we did have injuries and all of that kind of jazz. We finished second. Again, we all know the context of going out to Newcastle, how we performed across those 2 legs. But in May, it's just going to say semi-finals. FA Cup, we all know we went out against 10 men Man United. And Man United are not the team that they once was. But they're going to say, you know, is Man United? Fair enough. It went to penalties. It's the luck of the draw. Champions League is free game, in my opinion. We're into this is how I feel the club feel. We're into the knockout stages. Anything beyond that's gravy. So then it's just we rinse and repeat, really and truly, man. You can even see that big scar on his left leg from surgery, as you're gonna have, man. You're gonna have it, really. And like I said, for me, I want Saka to come back when he's properly fit. Obviously, the physical wounds can heal. Mentally, I think Saka's a strong lad. We all saw the backdrop with the Euros and all that kind of jazz. But the mental wounds are still going to be there. And for me, you know, at a push, what? If we are to salvage something, let's just assume football's romantic and Liverpool... Pardon me, as I said, let's assume football is romantic and Liverpool drop points to the point where it looks like Arsenal could tip them. We go to Anfield, we do a thing, etc., etc. You're relying on a barely fit Bukayo Saka. Excluding that, the one player that we really have faith in our attacking line is probably the 17-year-old Ethan, which, to go with Saka coming back from injury, young Ethan, it's a big burden to carry on your shoulders. Beyond that, you know, I don't think Kai Havertz should be our starting striker. I don't think you can win the Premier League with Bukayo. Definitely with Saka, but with Kai Havertz leading the line. But the reality is, I think he's been a lot more consistent and pulled his weight and been a lot more reliable than some of his attacking colleagues, if I'm honest, which probably in line tells you the issues that we have. It's a fallacy, really and truly. And you lot know me. I'm not one for this next season BS, but I just hope next season, at the end of the day, the manager's still going to be here. I can't change anything if I wanted to. It is what it is. I just hope that we go into next season with a striker, with a winger, with depth, because there was these things that were there last season. Everything we're talking about this year, yeah, you can say we scored 90 odd goals, but last year we scored 90 odd goals. But when we really needed to get over the line and we needed a goal scorer, whether that's Liverpool in the FA Cup, whether that's the 2 games, definitely the one away against Aston Villa, whether that's you could say the same logic, ironically, with Newcastle away. That tells you the issue. These are the fine margins that we're never on the right side of, unfortunately. Bit like last season, we'll turn up and score 3, 4, 5 goals against, spaced out across the season, as we've done now against Sporting Lisbon, against West Ham, against Manchester City. But when you actually really and truly need to get it done, we haven't got clinical players in that regards, or a clinical forward. And again, defensively, I do think there's question marks, really, in the whole defending as a team. But defensively, we're kind of okay in our defensive unit, really. The Lewis Skelly's emergence, Tomiyasu's still absent. We don't know the future. Well, Tierney, Zinchenko, Kivior, their futures probably lie away from Arsenal. Smash the like button. In midfield, there's more question than answers. Partey's been one of our best players. His contract's running down. Jorginho's contract's running down. Clearly, Declan Rice is going to persist as an 8, but where's the long-term partner in that midfield for Declan Rice? There's no one to alleviate the creative burden on Martin Odegaard, which I don't think one man should be the creative spark of the team, or you should be creating from everywhere, if I'm honest, especially as Arsenal fans during the Emirates era, right? But we've said these same things. If Odegaard ain't doing it, or he's injured or whatever, there's no one else in there. If something happens to Benjamin White and Saka, where we at, and you look at Odegaard, Saka and Ben White, that right-hand side was our bread and butter. We always talk about football as fine margins and that. Liverpool fall off. Watch, Liverpool could fall off, but at the end of the day, Liverpool are not invincible. They're not. They are, for what I would say, I think they're head and shoulders above everyone. I think they've shown me they can win in different ways. Clearly, when Liverpool's on song, they can smash teams. You got Salah and Trent and all these guys. They can get results when the games are kind of even, like you saw against Brentford. And the rhetoric around, if you can't win, don't lose. Ironically, like at the Emirates where they snatched the late equalizer, right? I think against you look at the Brentford game as well, where it's neck and neck. They're getting over the line with a couple of subs. However they're doing it, it's a results-driven business. Bournemouth, I think Bournemouth were better than them, but they walked away with the 3 points. And I'm sure if you ask Areola what you want to do there, yeah, we can laugh at them. They went out to Plymouth. That was probably the only opportunity to make mass kind of rotations. The manager has to hold that. It's a magical story for Plymouth. They've taken out 2 Premier League sides, I believe, big them up. But other than that, Liverpool they've definitely been somewhat perfect. They've been perfect in comparison to everyone else in the Premier League. they've been perfect in the Champions League. My point is, Liverpool are head and shoulders above everyone, so they can drop points, and they've given. Not that I feel Slot or the players are going to drop points because they can, but they can drop points. Other people need to take advantage, and there's too much of a margin. So, like I said, if you want to look at it through a romantic thing, and Arsenal go on this great run where there's all injuries and your star players are missing, you go to Anfield and do something. Fair enough, really, fair enough. But I don't like that, because when it comes to winning the league, you need to remove romance away from it. So we'll have to see, man. The last 3 seasons, it's been the same old story. I think 2022, 23, breath of fresh air. Last season, we were meant to fall off and everyone's going to get better. We didn't win the title, but we were still there. This has probably been the worst pursuit of the 3 seasons of this Premier League trophy, really and truly. And if Arne Slot wins it, yeah, you can say they've got quality players, but at the end of the day, it's another manager. Like, Liverpool should always be fighting for a title, right? But at the end of the day, I very much doubt Slot was thinking about winning the league title going into this season. That doesn't matter, because they've been given an opportunity and they're running with it. That's exactly what I wanted. Whether City are going to fall off or Arsenal are the big bad bullies, you need to be able to take advantage. And to be honest with you, even, obviously indirectly, Arsenal and Liverpool seasons are going to kind of coincide because we're fighting for the league title. I'm not even looking at Liverpool. I'm looking at what I see. I can't guarantee we're going to go on a faultless run until the pressure's off. We don't know if any other players are going to get injured. It's one thing talking about Saka. It's another thing even praising Martinelli because his form's been terrible. Fundamentally, you've got your 2 first-choice wingers injured. You've got a depleted attacking side. Everybody's had injuries as well, as every club, and specifically for Arsenal. You can't guarantee that Arsenal are not going to drop points and Arsenal are going to go on a faultless run. Liverpool are not perfect. Of course, they're going to stumble. Of course, they're going to drop points. But look at where we are in this season. I want to be wrong. I want to see Arsenal eclipse Liverpool. But I genuinely, and I want to be wrong, I'll get clipped up. I don't genuinely think you can look at the cold-hard evidence of how both teams are performing and all the other connotations around Liverpool and part that off Arsenal for a sec and believe you're going to win a league title beyond copium and blind optimism. And you don't get it twisted. When everything's going right, you have to find negatives to improve. When everything's going wrong, you have to find some reasons to be optimistic. And at the end of the day, am I happy about the transfer windows? Am I happy about the caliber of player we got available? Am I happy that the same old mistakes have taken us where we are now? The same things I said last season are here? No, but this is what we've got. All we can do is fight to the very end, innit? But I think that's all kumbayari, if I'm honest with you. And what you see when it comes to winning a Prem or any trophy, there's cold-hard evidence. Yes, we can apply context, but winners win and losers explain, Winners win and losers explain, because there's probably, I haven't seen Liverpool win too many Premier Leagues, sorry. I've seen them win, obviously, the Prem when they won it. Obviously, they're going to win it now. There was also that year where they had 90. I'm probably exaggerating, but they had like 97 points and City still won. I bet you if you ask Liverpool fans or maybe Jurgen Klopp at the time, I'll bet you there were certain elements when they didn't win the league title, that he thought was better than when they actually got over the line and accomplished something. But fundamentally, that doesn't matter because no one's going to remember. Well, we obviously are, but Liverpool are not going to put in their trophy cabinet 97 points, but City won. It's the other year. So the winners win and the losers explain. Unfortunately, as a football club, we seem to always be on the wrong side of fine margins. We always seem to have to be explaining, really and truly. Liverpool obviously have their own problems. I don't think any Liverpool fan was ironically happy with their own last transfer markets. But end of the day, Arne Slot, Arteta, again, it is what it is. Arne Slot has been given an opportunity to win a league title. Whether Liverpool are here to stay or deeper problems are there, they've had an opportunity and they're going to take it. It's as simple as that. Eddie Howe's got to more finals than Mikel Arteta, of course, without a context. But again, I'm looking at it purely with delivering and getting over the line. And unfortunately, as a football club, as a manager and as players, when push comes to shove and it's about actually winning a league title, a Champions League, an FA Cup, there's a lot of explaining. And we're always waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. They got PTSD. They will fall off. Even if Liverpool fall off, they're 6 points clear. Even if Liverpool fall off, Arsenal need to be hella perfect. And at the end of the day, for me, that is the same. That's the same kind of rhetoric around. Like, for me, when you're looking at trophies, of course, indirectly you're focusing on other teams, but it's out of our hands. It's kind of the same stuff with some Arsenal fans. We're hoping Spurs would beat City. It is what it is, man. Would you like to take back all of those in the moment, emotionally charged, disrespectful comments on Mikel, or are we pretending they never happened? Hindsight is a beautiful thing. And Mia, you seem to be making burner accounts again. What emotionally charged, disrespectful comments on Arteta? I've personally never got at him as a man. Never. I've only always criticized him or praised him from a footballing point of view. I'm not sure what that means, man. But yeah, hindsight is a wonderful thing. I will say that if we, if everyone knew what they knew in hindsight before and could apply better foresight, everyone's life would be different. But unless you're gonna, rise up evidence of these, of course things are gonna, I don't apologize for any emotionally charged comments. Football is emotional. Disrespectful, you'd have to show me what allegedly I've said disrespectful. Haven't criticized his heritage, him as a man, made disrespectful comments to him. You will not find that. Yes, I have been critical on what he's done from purely a footballing point of view. So yeah, man, that's a great paragraph. Big up yourself. Unless you're going to bring up evidence for these accusations, it's not going to go anywhere, is it, man? But fair enough. You got yourself on screen, man, with no self-awareness at all, trying to give us advice. What did I do? Pathetic fan base, not you, DG. You're a real one. Appreciate it, man. DG, that's the same Emir Bell guy that's beefing Lee Gunner and saying nasty things about his daughter online. Lee was on stream talking about this guy. Listen, big up Lee and big up everybody that's making content or you lot tuning in. To speak about a man's daughter is horrible. I'm not too sure on that. Again, if you've said anything disrespectful about anyone's daughter, that's not on. You got to get out of it. We're definitely not for that. And what I would say to Lee, ignore them kind of guys there, man. Everyone can be disrespectful to an individual and to somebody's daughter out behind the screen. I mean, these guys are not going to say that to your face. And it's one thing to criticize, whether it would be Tom, Lee, me, Dan, Curtis, Turkish, whatever content creator, a man's daughter, who I'd assume is a teenager, got nothing to, might be an Arsenal fan, might not be, but got F all to do with it, really, man. Yeah, I mean, naturally, Leo, any father, once you come for their family members, of course they're gonna be on a warpath, man. But at the end of the day, unfortunately, these lot are doing this behind the screen. It's like, respectfully, assuming this is Amir, this might, the display picture he's got there, his name might even be Simon. It might not even be Amir. Is that a black hue? I'm not sure from the screen. He might be some white guy or Asian guy or a black hue that don't look like that. You can go online and do foolishness. Their job is they're just trying to say disrespectful things for you to mad your head. Appreciate you on the big up, but you said let's have a respectful debate. I'm all for that, but you've mentioned again disrespectful comments in relation to Mikel Arteta. If you want to have a debate, you need to raise evidence. Me questioning Mikel Arteta from a tactical point of view, if he is or isn't the right man, isn't disrespectful. That's not disrespectful. I know we live in a woke society, and let's be honest, again, when it comes to Arsenal content, there's no balance. It's either in or out, shake it all about. This is good, or that is shit. There's no nuances around it. You can't say a Mikel Arteta is 100% not the guy or 100% the guy. You can't say he's done a million things wrong or he's done a million things right. And there is a bit of a cult following where when things are going right, you can scream to the housetops about Mikel Arteta. When things are going wrong, it's everybody but the managers. And again, for me, just my thoughts, you can't say that this manager is this and that and he's good and this and that and not hold him to those high standards. Or you get into that Phil Foden or you're looking at Mikel Arteta like he's Phil Foden. And what I mean by that is people gas up Phil Foden to the high heavens. He'll score 2-3 goals against Ipswich, generational talent, which I believe he is. When it's crunch time, nobody's saying anything. Bearing in mind, I'm pushing an agenda there, but yeah, I'm not sure where that is, man. Like, I don't know, man. It's all good, people. It is what it is. Regard the hate, don't let it phase you. You can't, man. You can't let them things get to you. Like, people are gonna go and say disrespectful things. It comes with the territory, innit? Like, for me, I'm all about debating. I'm all about, and you will see on my platform, I get a bunch of people. There's some that are a lot more positive around the football club. There's also some that are a lot more negative around the club. I believe everyone's allowed an opinion. No one's right, no one's wrong. I get why you doubted him, but most of those takes age like milk. Still standing by them, more time to revise history. Again, rise up the evidence. Amir, you're clearly trolling. Like, rise up, but you're making it entertaining. Rise up the evidence. And even if I did or didn't doubt Mikel Arteta, who's going to shoot me? You could say from the start to if that was the thing, because again, people are allowed, and I'm speaking in general now, people are allowed to change their opinions. If you didn't doubt the guy and now you've got doubts, if you've got doubts and now you believe in the guy, you're allowed that. There was if we say Mohamed Salah is the best, one of the best right wingers in the world, everyone can agree with that, right? There was a time where not even Liverpool fans would back that. Newcastle, where Isaac's concerned, you know, you say if Isaac's the best striker in the Prem or one of the best in the world, everyone's agreeing with that. There was a time where that wasn't. Since when can you not change your opinion, or time doesn't dictate things? I always say, I don't tell you what to think. There's so many people in the comments. Sometimes I'll think one thing, somebody said something, I'm like, oh, you've got a point. What's going on there? As I've said, I like Mikel Arteta. There's been times you should have been sacked, back-to-back 8th, and I'll say that again. For what it's worth, from a coaching point of view, I think the man's tactically sound. At times, obviously, low block, all these things. There's things that need to be. No, don't block him. There's things that need to be improved. I think from purely a coaching aspect, there's so much I like about Mikel Arteta. I like all the things you've done off the field. I like the way you speak. I think you've done things with conviction. I have no doubt you're going to be a good manager. You've played some part into the mess we're in now, but in terms of the rebuild, park off where we are now for a sec. In terms of the rebuild, there were some inherent problems that you dealt with, and there's also some stumbling blocks that off your own accord that you've been off the way, that you've played a part in. Either way, we're second now. As much as us Arsenal fans, pardon my language, we're bitching, myself included. We're vexed, not doing this in the summer, not doing that in January. This player, that player, depth, this, that, the other. Our record in the Premier League is good. You know, we're still in the champs. We're second. All of these things. We're in a significantly better place than we was when the man walked in. Whatever happened, we're here now. But the conversation shifts to getting over the line. That's the whole point. The man himself says that. The players say that. The owners don't really say that, but the man himself says it. Everybody wants to waffle for the positive, toxic ones. Everyone wants to waffle about how good Mikel Arteta is, and we were the best team in 2024. Did we win anything? Mikel Arteta himself said that. My thing is just getting over the line. Let me on stream. All right, so there it comes, mate. And if you're gonna say age like fine milk, yeah, which I don't really care because I'm not here to try to be some football connoisseur. I just like talking football, yeah. You can go and see the videos where I've praised Mikel Arteta to high heavens. I stand by everything. I've been very critical of him naturally because I think that comes with it, and I've been very critical. Do you know how many times I said it just now? I think from a tactical point of view, he's a genius. Do you know how much people have to fight? So I don't really care about revising history or any of these kind of things. I've never wholeheartedly backed Arteta blindlessly. I don't think you've earned that from me. I think you earned that in the same way admittedly, I was that with Wenger. I still think you needed to go. I understand the reasons for you going, and I'm not going to defend you against people that want you gone, because I think there's logic towards it. As I said, I think there's bits and pieces of every side. So what are we talking about? We're saying a lot of things, but we're not. Like, you're saying a lot of things, and it's very easy behind the screen. And I know you're trolling, but you're making content. You're saying a lot of things, but you're not providing evidence. This isn't going to stand up in court. I don't care if my takes age like milk. I just said I don't think Arsenal are going to win the Premier or the Champs. If we were to go and do that, it would age like milk. I don't care about being right. I want to see my team lifting trophies. I want to see this realize something, because everything at this football club is geared towards winning, but actually winning now. That's where we're at. Purely over the line in terms of the rebuild and top 4 and defensive statistics and all them positives, great, but over the line now. This is the conversation. Fair enough, though. Liverpool is one key injury away from a little dodgy run in both the Premier Champs. Probably. And I hate to be this guy, and I'm sure Liverpool fans don't want to do that because they want to compete in all 4 comps like everyone. But they're going to get some rest now. They're gone out of the FA Cup. And even that, how many points did they need to realistically drop? Again, check out the live stream we did yesterday. But Arsenal, for me, I genuinely think, obviously, the way it would work out mathematically wouldn't. I genuinely think you need to be winning 12 to 14 games. And I emphasis on the 14, including playing Liverpool. Pardon me. And this is what I mean about the fine margins, because it's not good enough in this day and age. Bear in mind, Liverpool have been in this situation where they've been good, not got over the line. It's not good enough to be good. You need to be great. You need to get over the line now. We forget chasing the points we got on last season. I don't know. How much did we end the season with? Like 80-odd points. Forget the 80-odd points we gained. Focus on the points we lost. That is the fine margins that gets you over the line. Big up Arsenal. And I like our top 6 record, but I'm not interested that we drew against Liverpool, that we beat City. Of course, we battered City 5-1. We know we can compete now. That's one of the biggest praises I can give the gaffer as well. Like, there used to be a time top 6 write-off. Forget write-off when we're playing week in, week out. We look, when does the fixture calendar list come out? Like in May or something. Arsenal fans would go through the fixtures right off. Liverpool away, well, Liverpool away is still peak, but Liverpool away, we ain't lost there in 2 years now, innit? See what I'm saying? And some fans are old enough to remember when we used to win. We won the league there, which you're hoping can be the thing, innit? We might even have to give Liverpool a guard of honor. But it used to be a write-off. We're very competitive now against the top six. I actually think when it's gone left against the top six, we've shot ourselves in the foot twice at the bridge now in the last 2 seasons against Chelsea. Definitely last year in the North London derby at the Emirates. And this is not me just trying to find fault. You need to focus on the points we lost. We lost last season via 2 points, you know, which tells you about the fine margins that we're never on the right side of. Or am I lying? You think I want to sit here and talk about what Arsenal are not good at? But I know there's no point waffling in your life about what you're good at. It's the things you need to do. What's the saying they say? The magic is in the stuff you're not doing. We missed out by 2 points last season. As I said, Chelsea, where Salvation Army, Declan Rice, Screamer, we got a point at the bridge, but we didn't start that game well enough. The last 2 years, in fact, focusing on last season, shot ourselves in the foot against Aston Villa at the Emirates. 2-0 up, ended it 2-2, dropped 2 points. Had you have got those 2 points, had you held on to the lead against Liverpool, of course, winning, losing, it comes with it. But we're looking at this very differently. There's a reality where if we held on to the lead against Chelsea at the very minimum, and if we beat Aston Villa, forget Newcastle and Bournemouth, which are a complete write-off, I might be still feeling the same way about this title pursuit. But it would be, from what I just said there, it's more of a case of, you know what, if you're perfect, if you can do a thing against Anfield, who knows? We lost the league last year by 2 points, twice against Aston Villa in them games there. Newcastle away comes to mind. I keep saying it, one game that I think goes under the radar quite a lot. West Ham at home last season. Millions of chances. The same things we are complaining about this year were there last year. We score a bunch of goals, but when you got them 3, 4, 5 games a season that make or break if you're going to win a Prem or not, we don't get over the line. Depth, even though we had a clean run, quote unquote, with injuries, still missed Timber, Tomiyasu, and Partey. Depth is still an issue. Twice last year, the beginning and the end, Mikel Arteta said we've got one of the smallest squads. Did we do anything to improve that? Did we go into this summer looking like a team that, you know, I've had the hump, 2 points off, we've got a striker, we've got this. We didn't add any real quality to our starting 11. I think in years to come, Calafiori do his thing. I love Calafiori, but reality is, even with a depleted side, you're still not one of the first names on the team sheet. I think fans can be a bit harsh on Mikel Moreno, but he's not cutting the mustard. Raheem Sterling, big him up. He's a yard man, relationship of convenience. There was a reality where Arsenal signed no attacker, just like in January, dropped the ball in the last 2 summer markets. So we're shooting ourselves in the foot. And it leads me to believe those above Mikel Arteta, for Arteta and the players, question marks, those above him don't want to be winners. I think the 2022-23 season, which kick-started us being in these conversations, I think that was far too ahead of the club. And I'm talking those above. Last summer, even the summer of 2023, where we brought Declan Rice, brought Timber, Raya, all these things, we didn't do everything we needed to do. Thank the Lord, Kai Havertz has cut his teeth somewhat up front, or where would we be? We didn't sign a striker in the summer. You didn't go into that summer thinking you've got the long-term partner for Declan Rice or proper competition for Partey or Rice. You didn't say, you know what, Martinelli and Trossard, you lot need to get your act together, or there's a next one that's going to take your place. Kai, you've done your thing. I think people are harsh on Kai, but we can't live with the fact that we're living or dying by you and you're one of the more consistent attackers tells us our issues, respectfully to Kai, and how we're building this team. It's all cute and clever when you talk about wanting to just qualify for top 4 and all of that. Bearing in mind, there was clearly an emphasis on sales last summer. Getting over the line, you've got a manager that's good, but needs to arrest a lot of what he needs to do tactically. And there needs to be recruitment. And even that, when the budget has been made available, Arteta can't always say he's utilized it in the right way. And even in the January market, you know, credit Ethan and Lewis Skelly for coming on the scene. But you had the chance to recall Fabio Vieira. And I'm not saying this is the right or wrong decision, but you had the chance to sign Fabio Vieira. You had the chance to rightly or wrongly overpay for Ollie Watkins. You had the chance to take that 40 million bid that you've allegedly bidded for Ollie Watkins and go and do other things, whether that's for a project player. Didn't do any of this. And I'm not saying to sign all these players that we're linked with, but you would genuinely think we've got Thierry Henry and Bergkamp and all them, man, or the good Chelsea and Liverpool sides. If we had, or the Real Madrid sides, if our team was to that caliber, I could hear not signing, man. But really and truly, we can't sign anyone. We can't do anything, whether it's the Tells. And I'm not even saying Tell or Morata or these guys are going to make the difference, or Ollie Watkins. This tells me those above do not really want to do this thing. And then you've got Arteta, does a lot good, but does a lot wrong. And even though he's young and all of that, bro, there's enough experiences you've had as Arsenal manager now to learn from stuff. You don't need to be experienced to see where last season went wrong and what we need to do now, especially because, again, I'm only holding them accountable to what they say. You know, when they say maximizing fine margins, we need to be a team that gets 100 goals. We need this, we need that, we need the third. You're saying it to me, and I'm quote unquote at times seeing it match up on the football pitch. So it is what it is in that regards, man. This is that I genuinely think I just think we're in this weird cocktail as a football club in that Arteta gets a lot right, but the little things that he gets wrong that gets us over the line, you're not doing it. And I just feel there's not enough pressure. I think there's pressure. I think Arteta puts pressure on himself. I think the players want to win, but there's not, like, if we had an owner that's like, yo, Arteta, you've been here a couple of years now. We're giving you a new deal. We've given you left backs and goalkeepers galore. I need to see you win either a Prem or a Champs, or at the very minimum, pick up these League Cups and FA Cups just to keep us ticking over. He might do something. You know, you've got a good manager who isn't able to get over the line and has been given too much authority, and it doesn't feel that anyone can challenge him. And there's been times where I feel he's made a lot, like he's messed up his budget, but I feel in January he was begging for signings, nothing was going in. We've got no sporting director, so you have to question the whole logic. And what I would say is, maybe less so much on Mikel Arteta, but for the players, yeah. Obviously, end of the day, whatever way I shape it, you man are the ones playing, you know. Put yourselves in their shoes, which we haven't got. Them man are playing. Do you know that nobody more than these players is going to feel it when we're going out of cups, or we're not getting, we're looking, some of them are looking at their international teammates winning things, or some of them, you know, like Declan Rice and Saka for club and country have, well, for club, you've not got over the line with the Prem. For country, you've been in 2 finals and not got anywhere. These are the more that you don't get over the line, the more it's naturally going to play on your head. And there's been regression. There's been 2 years prior to this year. There's been 2 years of quote unquote progression. There's been stagnation. And even that, we're saying that with a fairly decent run in the Premier League, and obviously still being in the champs and that, but it's not about that. 9 times out of 10 throughout a 38 game period, we're going to win games. We're going to do whatever. It's the 3-4 times where it's sink or swim, where we need to get those 3 points, those 3-4 games, which dictate the narrative in May, which really do this thing. It's these things that we're not getting over the line, and we're going to keep having the same conversation week in, week out. And I don't want to be that guy or talk about stuff, but if you are the Salibas, if you are the Sackers, if you are them kind of man there, you know, you've played a part. You've not done everything as well. It's not all just your teammates. But how long are you going to want to be part of this before you talk to your international teammates and seeing what they're doing? Or do you want to be in a situation, as much as you want to banter Spurs, like Son Heung-min, very good player, master of a footballer, has not won any trophies of significance to anything in England. Harry Kane probably didn't even want to leave Spurs like that. But it's a thing where, and ironically, he's gone by Munich and stinking up the place. But I need to do what I need to do. Because there's a reality, yeah, where you win the Premier League last season, Nico Williams might say, yeah, you know what, I want to stay at Bilbao Barca, but I'm on going over here now to Arsenal. They might have told Sesko, sorry, you're not playing instead of Kai Havertz, but he might say, you man are Premier League winners, I want to roll. I genuinely think, though, had we have won the Premier League last year, I think we have the same summer we had. Maybe not in terms of personnel, but the same old rhetoric. And that tells you everything. We're trying to go against the grain too much. We're not really taking advantage of the fine margin because we've done the hard part, you know. That's the most jarring thing about us. I don't care what no one says. I can have question marks over my players and Mikel Arteta. I don't need to sit here and make out that we're getting relegated. Our form is we're terrible. We're not. We're finished. Like we've clearly, you know, there's so much to like. We're hated because of the set pieces. You know, we can stink out the place. Maybe not so much this year, but defensively, we did get 91 odd goals. There's so much innovative stuff. But it's those small percentages that make the world of difference. And that goes for Mikel Arteta. That goes for the players. I'm more moving towards now the ownership and everything, because whether we want Mikel gone or you want him to stay, I personally feel we can have those conversations. But they are quite redundant now, surely, people. The man is staying. He's got X amount on his contract now. For me, in life, when the same things are said time and time again, that's my frustration. I don't really care about next season right now because we were in a season and salvage what you can salvage, right? But how much times we're going to keep talking about depth, about midfield, about the wings, about the strikers? Because any question we had as Arsenal fans, once again, we've seen it play out this season. What happens if Odegaard's not there, if Saka's not there, if this one's not there, if that one's not there? What about the depth? This club will tell you they want to be a team that competes on 4 fronts. What did Mikel Arteta say in this Sky interview in the build-up to the City game? We came into the season with 3 or 4 long-term injuries, with a squad of 19, trying to compete for 4 trophies. It's not feasible, or something along those lines. That tells you everything. That tells you there's a disconnect. Now, for me, I'm not in this blame game thing, whether it's Arteta, the owners, or whatever. As I said, growing up, grandma's house, all my cousins there, someone breaks something, my grandma and granddad, God bless their souls, they're not going to sit there and ask who did what. Everyone's getting mashed up. Everyone that was there. And that's where we are. In the same way, if we won and everything was great, everybody has to shoulder the blame, shoulder the plaudits. That's just me, man. Because reality is, Arteta, you signed a 3-year deal, right? Within, obviously, from that point of the summer to where we're going now, but within the next 12, 18 months, to talk around that new deal is going to have to start. We all know where Saka, Gabriel Magalhaes, definitely with his form, that needs to be highlighted a lot more. Saliba's contracts are concerned. But because I think what we're seeing at the moment, like the Newcastle game, the players that normally bail us out of problems, mainly our defenders, they're reverting to they can't have an off day, or beyond the obvious, because it wasn't just them. If they have an off day, we're even more in trouble. But as long as we get top 4, everything's cool. And then even that now, like, listen, if Arteta goes, he goes. If he stays, he stays. But like, if we just allow me to hear me, if the man was to cut tomorrow, yeah, and I'm not saying to keep the guy or whatever, if the man was to cut tomorrow, we have to start for starters, the whole conversation starts again about the man needs it. The next manager needs his own players. He needs this, he needs that, time, all of those things, which that you could say, yeah, Liverpool, Arne Slot's doing his thing, but Arne Slot still deserves that. Don't get twisted. If Liverpool still win a Prem or a Champs or whatever, them same talking points are still there. Like, Arne Slot has still been done dirty. So that's one. The ownership. Do they set managers up for not only success, in which we need to be getting 1 Prem or 1 Champs before we talk about sustained, but sustained? Because it feels, and I like in principle the self-sustaining model. Who wouldn't want a business that is self-sustaining and has a positive bank balance? Who doesn't like the rhetoric around we don't want to sign players for the sake of it? We've been there in isolation. I'm not against that, but you sometimes have to go against the grain. And it feels like we've done all the hard work now. 1-2 things that will make the world of difference. Or, you know, if we signed a striker, winger, this one, that one, we might be saying the same things. But at least me, I could say, you know what, you put your best foot forward, and then the blame goes wherever. That's just me. I don't have all the answers, man. I never once claimed to have the answers. I'm just a simple Arsenal fan, man. So yeah, man, big up you lot, man. Hey, one love for the super chat, man. The worst outcome for you guys is if Arsenal win at Anfield, but Liverpool win the league. Let me know your excuses now. Don't be shy. One love for the super chat. There's no excuses. Like, I know there's banter in that. You have to applaud Liverpool. What I hope, though, like, because I think Liverpool are going to win the league, yeah. The only thing I hope is I don't want to see no guard of honor, man. I'm not on the guard of honor thing. Like, that's the only thing, man. I love that you paid DG $30, even if it's Aussie, though. Don't shade it, man. Anyone, listen, the fact that you lot give up your time, the fact that you lot comment, super chats, all the support you lot give me, it's appreciated. Even if you donated 50p, boy, that's I don't know how the Aussie dollar conversion rate works, but that's money that could have been put towards food in his fridge. So appreciate the support for 1. Appreciate that for 2, man. Less of that, man. Yeah, man. Mods, do your thing, man. Yeah, man. It's where you place the blame for Jan. He was shouting from the rooftops he needed help. I think Arteta and the club fucked up in the summer. I think they fucked up in Jan. I don't know. I think it's a reality where everyone's blamed. I think Arteta was probably suggested certain targets or certain things we could do in January, and he said, "Nah, that's not me. I'm not on that." I also feel, you know, like you said, he's suggesting things or he needs things, and people are not helping. I think everyone's to blame. Jason Ito, I don't even want to. Like, reality is, I shouldn't really draw out Jason Ito because you're a novice. Other people have been here really, but when I hear the club say, or we all see and hear the club say, "Oh, they're impressed with his work," what work? Because for me, it seems like you're impressed because he's singing from the same hymn sheet. I ain't see, again, maybe there's things he's doing in the back burners for the summer. Again, I am not saying to be thinking about the summer, but reality is half of the summer signings, the building blocks are being put in place since the last window closed in the summer to now. So if he's doing something like that, which if you're flying the word London Coley, fair play. I don't know. Because to me, as just an armchair expert and a fan, I ain't seen none of our key players sign new deals. I didn't see us pull a rabbit out the hat in January. I didn't see anything. Everyone has to hold this. Again, it's not like we discovered this. Arteta said we have one of the smallest squads. Now it's finally being stress tested, where in an attacking sense, man are relying on a young Ethan now, you know. Talented lad. But you see, if you're looking under the guise of Prems and Champs and latter stages of these things, unfair to place that on a man's shoulders. You're going in it with Kai Havertz, which I think, Kai, you're not the guy. You've done what you can. I don't even get at Kai anymore. Obviously, on a pitch, things you need to do, but you've drawn as much lemon from that as you can. If Kai Havertz is one of your more reliable attackers, which I think he is, that lies your issue. It is what it is. And as a club, on the sporting front, there's little things, you know, Mikel Arteta, the only things I would say from a footballing point of view, beyond the things that I've been waffling about, I think you've shown me that, like, let's say we're playing on, it's Monday now, yeah? Let's say we're playing on Saturday. From now till Saturday, Arteta show me you can do the madman thing. You know an opponent better than they know themselves. You can stifle them. You can have them. Teams are very reactive to us. Very rarely do you see teams like what it used to be. They're trying to play their own way. They're very reactive to us. But you see when something goes wrong, that's my in-game. That's my issue with Arteta. We don't change things aggressively enough. We don't go up the gears enough. Breaking down low blocks is still an issue. And I'm not saying it's easy, but again, it's been there since last season. We came into this season knowing all of the kryptonites around us. And that's where I look at the whole club. Like, I think the players want to win. I think Arteta, I've got question marks over how you've gone about things. I think you want to win. But at the end of the day, for those above that own the club, they don't want to be winners, bro. Winning is not everything. Everything is being guided towards winning apart from getting over the line. We'd have to not fluke a title. You'd have to fluke it. You see the good thing about life, like in football, everything you do in the dark comes to light. And what I mean by that is, you can do the negative thing. You can do the positive thing, especially that pretending everything's great. You can hide behind 90-odd goals and the very different goal scorers. But throughout the season, you will see that it's not being honest. And I feel where Arsenal content is, and that's whether it's YouTube, whether it's on the platforms, is hyper opinions. Don't get it twisted. Those that have quote unquote been positive, or those that have been consistent in their negativity within reason, I respect them because they've kind of been consistent. It's the whole flip-flopping and the hyperbolic opinions. It's jarring, and no club or no talking points around the club sum that up more than Arsenal. At a push, probably Man United, because Amarin's just walked in right now. And I'm sure Marcel's here. Obviously, everything's great from a Liverpool perspective. Like, top in the Premier League, good chance of winning the Champs, League Cup final to look forward to. Yeah, you went out the FA Cup and isolated to that. There's bare question marks, I'm sure, but everything's positive. Go and ask Liverpool fans, yeah, if they feel their own club has maximized the last two windows, if they're fully happy with FSG, if they don't feel it's a disgrace that a new manager's come in and you got 3 key players' contracts running down, question marks of their own around depth. But I'm sure there's some Liverpool, of course, it's very different, but I'm sure there's some Liverpool fans that will bury their head in the sand and just pretend everything's amazing. And when all of these cracks become prevalent, which in years to come they could, even if they win the league, it doesn't matter. I always say on this platform, I don't tell you what to think, just think. That's it. So yeah, man, it is what it is. I blame everyone, man. For January, I blame the owners, because if you wanted to win things, bro, like even not, like you see the injuries. Your star poster boy, franchise player Bukayo Saka is injured. You're relying on 2 teenagers. The squad is thin. Martinelli just busts up himself now. You didn't get Watkins over the line. You didn't get nothing, or even that Napan guy. I have to blame the owners. Mikel Arteta, if the club sat there and said, you know what, the budget you had, you squandered the peas. Now there's no peas in January. Or you was telling us certain things, or we've suggested you tell Morata this one, that one, whether I rate them or not. If they've suggested these guys and you said no, you have to hold that. My point is, everyone's together. If there's anyone I feel sorry for in the January period where connected to Arsenal, I feel sorry for us Arsenal fans, and I feel sorry for the players, because they're the ones saying it. And I know they're kind of saying it because Declan Rice came out and said, oh, I'm sure the manager had to play Tierney left wing. I'm sure he wants to sign people. And then when you even look at that, there's actually been some things that have led to our fortunes. We've been tested defensively, tested in midfield, tested up front. Where, you know, if Tini doesn't get injured in pre-season, he's not here. Not that he's been a main player, but that's one less body. Lewis Skelly and Ethan, they was in that weird spot where they're too good for the 21s. They're part of the first team, but they're not really part of the first team. They've been given opportunities. They've taken it. They've ran with it. They've asserted themselves. And by default, the squad is bigger now. But the same things I said last season, they're still here. And until we focus on the 1, 2, 3, 4 negatives that are stopping us from getting over there, we're not going to get there. Because those 3 positives, those 3, 4 negatives are the things stopping us from winning the Prem, you know. So you can focus on if there was 100 million things, you can bury your head in the sand. You can do the copium thing, which in hindsight is very few people want to be honest. And I genuinely think the honest rhetoric around Arsenal is centrally. There's a lot of positive things in isolation, but there's also an evident cloud of negativity that is going to stop us getting from what we get to. That's why we'll always talk about fine margins and be the wrong side of those fine margins. That's why you're already seeing the rhetoric out here focusing on next season. You see, if you're not a thinker in this day and age, like whether you're right or wrong, if you have the inability to think, you're in trouble, and especially around our club. But yeah, man, you shouldn't be disrespecting anyone's family members or daughters. So yeah, my heart goes out to anyone that is on the receiving end of that stupidity. But you know, the internet, man, it gives people confidence to say nonsense and be nonsense. What I would say is, though, what goes around comes around. Behave yourself, man, and leave people's family out of it. It's like the idiots that I don't condone going in Kai Havertz. Any normal person, clearly, you can think Kai Havertz isn't good enough. People that actually have a damn soul and are not pussies, they're not going in a man's Instagram or anyone's Instagram and abusing them and doing all of that, and then going on to their family members, a pregnant wife. So yeah, it's one thing criticizing a footballer or content creators, and it's another thing getting at family members. For me, I don't really care who agrees, disagrees. This is football. I'm not right. You lot aren't right. I'm not wrong. You lot are not wrong. It is what it is. I talk about football. I praise. I critique. How stupid would I be if I felt some sort of way around that? We all want the same thing, which is to share our love for football. And obviously, if you're an Arsenal fan, for Arsenal to win stuff. And one thing I like about our platform, like everybody's really, but I can only focus on the one that we are here. You got white, black, man, woman, young, old, Australia, Asia, Africa, Europe, all the continents. We're here because we love football. And the highs and the lows and all the things that come with it. So yeah, big up you lot for tuning in. Anything is good as long as City gets slapped. Pool fans hating on Arsenal. It's just because we're in the title race. What happens if we don't win? I want the other to win as long as City lose. Brother, I hear that, but at the end of the day, like, Liverpool fans are going to do that. It's City against Arsenal. They're allowed to think City can win it or Arsenal can win it. They're directly there. And I do think Arsenal fans, I do think everything we do is magnified. Everything we do is, in the media, it's all mad. I do think Arsenal fans have a lot of special individuals on the internet, but I also think Arsenal fans, you see, if they don't support, or even a lot, like I'm sure you lot disagree with a lot of people. Like there's some of you that are overly Wenger in or overly Wenger out. And depending on what side Wenger in and out, Arteta in and out, depending on what side, you disregard the other side. So if you can disregard your fellow fan, who we all want the best for our club, why the fuck do we care about what other people have to say? It's not their job to rate us. They're going to be dishonest. Who gives a flying monkeys? Who cares? Who cares? Big up because for me, I like to think of myself as I love football. Like I love it at its neutral level. And then I'm an Arsenal fan second. But I love my club. I don't really care what other people think. They're not here with me. They're not. Who cares? And I do think Arsenal fans, there's a section that just want external validation. And again, I'm not talking, I would love for there to be consistency in how we're spoke of in the media. It does feel like the world hates us, but who cares if the world hate us? Let's band together even more, man. Who gives our monkeys, man? If we beat Everton on Wednesday, it's a 9-point lead. Exactly. And to be fair, Everton's the only time. I just think David Moyes has got something for you. But even that, it would still be a 6-point or whatever, like. And again, you need, for me, even if Arsenal go, and this is where I always say for me, like once factors, you see, if you want to reach a destination and there's factors out of your control that obviously evidently dictate whether you're going to get there or not, I kind of emotionally check out because we could, even with winning all our games, just before you talk about Liverpool winning, losing and drawing, winning all our Premier League games does not guarantee you win the league. You need a lot of other luck to happen and fall into place. Which I want a trophy parade. You know, I want a trophy parade. I want something because again, I think for many neutral people, I know Arsenal fans are special, but you know, and other fans are as well. But for most neutral fans, once you get beyond the banter and all of that stuff, you can't sit here and say we're not a good club. Like there's not good things around us. It needs to correlate now. Like there needs to be something set in stone. Could you imagine the Invincibles talking about how good they are and they ain't got nothing? Or the Chelsea sides, or the Liverpool sides, or the City sides, or the Spurs. Now I'm joking. Spurs have never done it. They really are shit. But you get the point, innit, people? Thoughts on Spurs going trophyless? I mean, they still got the Europa League to fight for. Hopefully that gets collapsed, man. So yeah, man, it is what it is. Spurs and United are not top 6 anymore for now. I mean, mathematically, they could still do it, but it's looking mad, isn't it? Both of them teams just need to focus on getting 40 points. Don't worry, DG is a real issue. You won't get a deluded response. Yo. I watched Aston Villa versus Spurs, and Villa has more attacking talent than Arsenal. Right, and Villa went easy, man. Big up to you. That was part of the watch along. We are rewarding failure with this Dubai trip. Matthew, is that true though? I hear it, you know. Yeah, you man are going on an all-expensive holiday to Dubai. We're at the FA Cup. You can banter Liverpool for going out, but they were still in it up until that point. Everyone's got participation but us. I hear that, but is really and truly, is that true? Like, there's probably a bit of sponsorship behind going to Dubai, wherever it is. That was something we did last year. It's not really rewarding failure, though, is it? I hear it, and it don't look good, but really, like, when we strip our emotions back, really, 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 don't get it twisted, man shouldn't be going to Dubai. Like, they should be going like Brixton or something. Like, they should be jogging from north to south, and that they shouldn't be going to Dubai. I'm with that. But I can understand it, and I'm not saying I want this. I don't think them lot on the plane are not feeling sour about their season. I don't think at any moment they haven't. And again, if Arteta does the right thing, and even Arteta himself, you don't need to be doing suicide runs and all of those cardio things in that extreme heat in Dubai. It's clearly a thing of whatever they did last year, it worked. Arteta's been big on that kind of thing. Go out there, different environment, see each other in a different light, kind of hold yourself accountable and slap yourself for the L's. Thank God that it's bad, but it could have been worse. And then go again. I wouldn't say it's rewarding failure. Really, I don't think that's fair. DG, just in case Odegaard gets injured again, which 10 would you like the club to sign? Just bring me Ryan Cherky, man. We missed out by a point against City twice. A lot of people seem to forget that. We know what it feels like to be damn near perfect and still come up short. Exactly. And for me, last season, last season. I said it in 2022-23. I said it this year, and I said it then. And I'm probably going to, if this same thing happens next year, I'll say it. But it feels like if you don't win a league, if you don't win it this year, you're not going to do it. And last year, the football weren't amazing, but we was grinding out results. Like, for me, I just wanted the club to say, you know what, 2022-23, last season, 2 years for fighting in the league. Let's make a real goal of it this year, right? Take the great attacking from the year before, take the defensive solidity, improve the depth, the evident starting 11, you know, players that come into our starting 11 that improve this thing, and we move. We could have done all of those things, but still come up short. But I'd be looking at it differently. And that's before I look at City, before I look at Liverpool this year. I've always said, and some of you have been here, I look at ourselves. Have we done all we can? No, we ain't. No, we ain't. On field, foresight, hindsight, we haven't. We have not. There's no way around it. You can't convince me. Of course, I'm a fan. It's easy for me to sit here and as an armchair expert, and I'm not knowing what you lot are trying, but it's a results-driven business football, right? If a manager his team plays well for 38 games, but he doesn't necessarily win enough games, people lose jobs. People get relegated. Clubs don't make it back. There's a lot of explaining and a lot of context. When can we kick Spuds out the top 6? It's top 5 and Spurs, if anything, man. Like, you can't be involved in them, man. Can't be involved in them. Big up you lot, man. It's all good, people. It is what it is. It's disregard the hate. Don't let it phase you. Again, people can disagree, do all of those things, but yeah, man, like, anyone that's gonna, like, big up Lee, man. Like, again, Lee, anyone, man, like, leave people alone. Leave people's daughters alone. Like, that rubs me up the wrong way, man. And you even got that Arsenal fan, you know, in a day and age, yeah, like that Rory, you know, like someone I actually wanted once upon a time to get on my channel. That Rory, like, I think we live in a PG society where, you know, everybody says everything is racist or sexist or this and that, and everyone's got a right to be offended by something, right? But I think because of that, when there's legitimate cases, yeah, of racism, of discrimination, let's call it that, it's not taken seriously. And you got a man calling Trippier racist, saying nonsense. Like, these are the youths that are platformed. Like, think before you speak. And if you're that confident in the heat of the moment where football has heightened its senses to say that nonsense when you're live, what are you saying behind the screen? It's an idiot thing, man. Everybody just needs to think. But yeah, man. Yeah, you can't come along stream disrespecting people, them daughters, but we don't want that round here, bro. Idiot thing. Anyways, moving on, keeping it football, man. Big up you lot, people, as well, man. Well, I feel a bit better, you know. I was a bit I don't even know how to describe it, a bit of pain in relation to how I feel about the team. This is what I say, it's like therapy speaking to you lot, man. It's just a bit weird that, you know, I don't even know what Marcel looks like. But he's always here. So yeah, man. You would think that outgoing players would be replaced at least partially with incomers. It was a sideward step last year. I think Calafiori's quality been shagged by injuries, but I'll push one quality man in a position which, in hindsight, Lewis Skelly's come in and was listen. Calafiori's had injuries of himself, but it could have been worse. But he was quote unquote stuck there. Moreno's not bringing nothing in it, and I'm being devil's advocate here, and I know it's not the same, but clearly you needed a level raiser in midfield, and you needed a squad done. If Moreno came in with that level raiser, people would have the same questions, but it's calm. Being devil's advocate, though, if you could only bring in a level raising midfielder or a squad raising midfielder, and you're working with a limited budget, which one should you go for? For me, at least, you should have went for that. I know it's not the same, but you should have tried to get Zubimendi or whatever, or someone. Because I do think, again, if you're not a thinker, and again, I understand you want a peculiar player, all of these kind of things, but you will fall for this BS about there's no players that will improve us, market opportunity, this and that. How much time do you want to hear the same things? Seeing the same problems is frustrating with Moreno. You get what you paid for, which is a £30 million player. It's unfair to expect so much from him. We do not have a complete squad. The league thing is dead still. I can't lie. Focus on the champs. Don't have the depth to compete in both without more injuries. You know what? Yeah, I hear it. I think there's more chance in Arsenal winning the Prem than the champs. And I'm pessimistic on both. I just feel, obviously, there's been exceptions to the rule of teams winning champs and not necessarily dominating their league. But I genuinely feel Arsenal, we're not going to be in a final in the Champions League and come back from 3 goals down like Liverpool. We're not going to be able to do something which big up the mentality of Liverpool and actually Chelsea to beat Bayern Munich many years ago in their own backyard. We're not going to get that. We're not going to do the Buki Man United 1999 or John Terry slipping a penalty. We kind of have to be perfect. The Champions League's defined by margins. You can't say the best team in Europe isn't the Champions League winners, but it's not necessarily the case. Real Madrid, when they've won champs, or forget getting to the finals, the quarters and semis, have they been the best team across 90 minutes? Not in the 2 legs, not necessarily. But when Carlo does that, when the rebours for them, let alone their great players, they make it happen. I don't think we was terrible against Bayern. I think we should have killed it at the Emirates. I think we shot ourselves in the foot at the Emirates. It's about fine margins. And what piggy banks into fine margins? You need players with a bit of X factor. At this moment in time, you ain't got Saka. Ethan's got that, but 17-year-old asking him to make the difference in the latter stages of the champs, it's a big ask. I don't think we've got that. I think you've got more chance of the league, which, again, as I've been explaining as to why I don't feel that is the case, I just think you've got more opportunity. You've got more margin for error generally. So you can see how pessimistic I am on both silverwares. One love for the super chat, Tyler. Wish you had another comment, man. Hey, big up Tyler, man. Big up the Aussies, man. Hopefully you actually are in Australia. What if Arsenal wins the Champions League? I'm the happiest man on the planet, bro. That's all I want. I'm the happiest man on the planet, bro. Win the Champions League, man. Can't talk about my team for a year. You know how the goalposts move. Oh, you spent all this money. You should have. You only won one champs, though. You ain't won it twice. Who cares? One champs. Too big of a club not to have that. Arsenal fans, young and old, our record in Europe is terrible and it's filled with pain. The way we performed, 06, pain. Worst European final, not that I've seen too many in my 29 years. Bro, I know you should not be playing like that in the Europa League. You all saw it. Big up Iwobi, only player that actually showed something. Who don't, when we're in it to win it, have a chance. But on the best of days, if everyone was fit and all that stuff, I'd still be a bit pessimistic. So you can imagine where I am in relation to that. I hope the footballing gods shine on us and we win the champs. But if you ask me to put money on it, mate. See how quick that Amir Bell brother dipped out after people in the chat clocked 2 years. It's probably, well, you never know. Social media is weird. It's probably, you know what, it could be a grown-ass man being weird. It could be a little kid being weird. Could be even content creator. Such is life, yeah. That could even be someone close to you doing nonsense. Like, Anyone that's gonna do all of that, it's a idiot thing, man. Absolute idiot thing. It feels like the border in project mode still. We seem scared to make a mistake in the window. The squad can afford to take risks. We aren't cancelling contracts or building a spine anymore. I hear you. I think they're in love with an unfinished project. But are we scared? Because being scared, you don't, and if you really was scared, we're not in the climate that we are right now, really and truly. And I don't even think it's a risk thing. I genuinely think it's balance sheets now. Like, you lot have shown me it's a balance sheet thing. Some of it, I don't know how we got there, but yeah, man, I'd love us to win the champs. Read Tyler Jones' question earlier. Where is it? I see the super chat. There's no question there. One love for the super chat. And have I missed it? Let me see. Am I a LeBron fan? No. Big up Philly though. If you watch the Super Bowl, you saw what my team did, innit? Saw what my team did. Oh, you're talking about the super chat question. But if Arsenal win at Anfield, but Liverpool win the league, you know what? I do want to win at Anfield. I must admit, I'm tired. Tired of going there and not having any real confidence, man. And obviously we got away with one last year. I didn't see it, but Odegaard penalty shout, and obviously the Declan Rice heroics. But the 2022-23 season, bro, we started so well. 2 goals up, moving mad. Anfield silent. Ironically, it's on brand wearing this kit. You saw what happened, didn't it? And I think since then we're better at managing crowds than that. I feel when we've played poorly at grounds like, Anfield, I'd say the best example this season probably be the couple of times we've gone to St. James's Park. I don't feel it's quite the same Arsenal team of a few years ago where you could say, yeah, the crowd got onto them. I don't think it's that. I think they can cope with all of that now. But for me, if we're going to be winning Premier Leagues, obviously I've just mentioned depth, quality in the starting 11. We've been rambling for about an hour now, right, people? You're not stupid. I would say on top of that, I need to start feeling 100% convinced that, yeah, we could still lose against Liverpool, but we can win at Anfield. Anfield ain't really a shock like that, and Newcastle ain't a shock like that, and you get where I'm going with it. So, yeah, man, it is what it is, man. Love for the super chats again, man. Let me scroll down. Havertz has no balance. I don't know what he is. He falls over the slightest touch, which is crazy for some for his height. He was peeing me off against Newcastle. I feel he was too desperate to try and get, con the ref, if that makes sense. Ornstein said Isaac is our prime target, but if we spend a piece for him, will he stay fit? Spend a piece, let's have that later. But to be honest, I feel Saliba is more replaceable than Gabriel. I don't know about that, man. I feel they're so good, man. I feel, on my channel, you've seen me obviously speak about Gabriel being underrated for years. Nice to see him get his flowers, man. I don't know, man. I don't know. He's just moving mad, man. It's that same Moise Kean in you, man. Listen, we move on. The demand must shift to the owners because the same thing is happening with different managers. I don't think Arteta is good enough, but they gave an extension, so why not back him? Which is a good point. Love for the super chat. Shout out Bron Breaker. He needs some attention. Hey, leave my mods alone, man. Weren't there PSR FFP restrictions that only got lifted last month? They say that, but we heard that in the summer. Whatever we say around that, they found 40 million to bid for Watkins, whether it was a PR bid or not. My point is, find some freedom within a framework. And I genuinely think there's excuses. Respect the work ethic and consistency. What drives you, DG? Jerome, that's a good question. Appreciate you. Many things, man. I've seen my mother work very hard. Seen my dad work very hard. I've seen family members work very hard. I come from come on, my man's from North London, from Emberton, innit? You have to work hard if you want something, and nobody cares, innit? Nobody cares. Nobody's gonna want something more for me than me, innit? You got no choice, innit? Just gotta work, bro. You think I want to obviously we've all got our own things going on. There's times at the moment actually going through something family wise, actually. Got your own things going on. Headspace won't be there and that, but you have to do it. It's like going to the gym. If you only wanted to work out when you felt like it, or you only wanted to do things that make the difference when you felt like it, you're not going to get anywhere, innit? Everybody looks at, I've never spoke to Cristiano Ronaldo, and everyone looks at his consistency and all of that naturally. But they don't, do you think Cristiano Ronaldo wants to fucking take an ice bath and do all these things all the time? It just comes with it. You think sometimes man don't wake up and think, oh, forget it, man, I'll do without it. But nobody cares. And I always think to myself, what if the one day I'll pussy away from doing hard work or trying? That one day, what if that's the day that changes my life? Like, what if that is the one stream or the one day that this is it? Like, if you never take a day off, you might not win for a million years, but surely you win 1 year. And what I mean by that is you always try something. I just want to be better every day. I just try and do something to make myself better than I was the day before, innit? So yeah, man, it is what it is. See, now you're just being racist. See, like, this is a troll, man. When I'm talking about monkeys and that, once upon a time in my life that would have affected me. Now I just rough with this move. Do you prefer stats or do you rely on the eye test? You've got to rely on both, bro. Stats, you sign shit, man. The eye test, you might sign someone that's good, but there might be underlying factors. I think the eye test should come first, but it depends what you're looking for. If I'm looking for an inverted fullback, I'm going to use my eyes and see what's his first touch like, what's his movement like, how does he respond to... Because stats can't tell you how somebody reacts mentally when something goes wrong, like St. James's Park. When shit's hit the fan at St. James's Park, stats can't tell you if a player will stand up to be counted. But it's certain things. If I'm looking for a striker, obviously I need to use my eyes. If he's better example, actually, if he's scoring goals, great. But then the stats might tell me X amount with his head, X amount with his left, X amount in certain areas. If I sign a striker and he's only scored goals in the opposition's box, like he hasn't scored from outside the area, or he's only scored a certain type of goals, I might move away from him. Or if I buy this guy, I might have to tailor the game a certain way. And one thing I haven't liked is the new rhetoric, how, if we sign certain strikers, it's going to take goals away from Saka or this and that. Good players will always score goals. And who cares if Saka scores 15 goals this year, next season he gets 13, but that striker's got an extra 2. You see what I'm saying? When you actually break these things down, what people are saying, in theory, it sounds all right, but then you break it down, it's nonsense. Don't forget 4 p.m. I'm here with... my guy Tom Canton, man. I think Arteta needs a strong plan B when plan A doesn't work. It's a skill to adapt, but it's an area he can improve, and I hope he does. Exactly. And that's it for me, because you've shown me he can change things. The way we play in 2022-23 is very different to how we played last year and this year. Or there's been drastic changes or there's been minor ones. I just think, like you said, you need a proper plan B, because everybody knows what we're going to do now. And we've earned that because we've been the second best team in the league for a number of years. I'm not happy about that, but you need to change things. Everyone knows low block, you have half a chance. Because right now, and I might be a hypocrite, it feels like our game is more suited to, you see the Girona game, it's more suited to the European model. Teams aren't necessarily, bar the occasional Atalanta or Inter, which wasn't exactly low blocks. Teams aren't going to overly, whether Arsenal's better than them or not, teams are not overly just going to defend and whatnot. There's going to be space. And we're going to get 5 shots on target. 5 shots, 2 on target. One might go in, we win, we keep it moving. But that's not a sustainable way for me, man. You, man, can't say Arteta is not good enough. No team has ever won the league without lethal strikers. It's crazy, man. Appreciate that, Sarah, man. Facts, there's a lot of question marks, even though Slot is working his magic. We're disappointed with the owners and sporting directors at the moment. I'm the first one to lay the owners to the sword, but they did offer 40 to 45 for Watkins. That means after failing to get Watkins, the money was still available for other players. I chose to blame. Everyone's got to hold that, because that's what I'm saying. There's 40 million. Now, I ain't got no list of 1 million players. I can't go in like people say, oh, who would you have bought? It's not my job. Like, I can't go into this and show you players to buy. But if you've got 40 million, that must be able to get someone. And if not, you're telling me that there's no one that could have brought something to where you've got a 17-year-old. Kai Havertz, for all his question marks, even looks a bit knackered as well. Trossard, he's injured now. Well, he's 1 minute he's here, then he's not. Jesus, Martinelli, Saka are irrelevant in the sense that they're injured. You have to blame everyone, man. You know what's funny? Arsenal have lost 5 games all season and 3 have been to Newcastle. Eddie Howe is on Arteta. We need to sort that out because we played him again. Trust, I don't know what Arteta did to Eddie Howe, but he's got his number, man. What I don't get is Arteta plays a style of football this season that requires a number 9. All the crosses into the box, get a number 9 who can head it in. Chance creation isn't our problem, but burying of chances is a major issue. I think it's a slight issue because I don't feel we're creating enough. I don't care what the eyes tell me. I mean, what the stats tell me, we're not creating that many clear-cut chances. But I do hear what you're saying in that we're creating a decent amount, just not putting the ball in the back of the net. But again, like, as much as I criticize Kai Havertz, bro, he's never been clinical. He's never led the line. Why is he in that position? Which for me, and I know it's easy for me to say, and we can't do it now. You sign a striker, you sign another winger, Trossard, depending on Jesus, but Trossard, Jesus, Kai Havertz. The burden is shared around everybody. Arteta out. This guy's had 4 windows to sign a striker in 2 years, but failed to do so. This guy's tactics have been found out, but he's too arrogant to change it. By the way, when will we appoint the sporting director? All now they're still chilling. I'm not trying to see eye to eye shot. When you lot find out, let me know in it, because I think that would help. Like, when you lot find out, let me know in it. We're doing our madness. We're doing our madness, bro. They should go Brixton. If it was up to me, which it's not, bro, you don't deserve to be going to Dubai. Like, I don't think you man should be going to Dubai. You don't. That should be end of the season. You don't shouldn't be going to Dubai. But I don't think they're being rewarded with. I don't think Dubai is a reward for failure. I think it sounds good. It does. It definitely sounds good. It definitely sounds good. But I don't think, and I don't. I can criticize the players or 100 million%. But I don't think anyone's going sitting there and happy that they're in Dubai. They should, yeah, even Croydon. Something like that. Something like that. These lot should be working at food banks and all of these things, man. And I hope, you know, before we even talk about Dubai, I'll be honest, I hope that they either refunded the traveling fans that made the way up to Newcastle, which if you're in London or even further out, isn't an easy feat, or donated your match fees to charities that are close to either your heart or the club's heart, innit? Because you lot shouldn't make no money from that one. And you lot know me, I'm never one to talk about finances. 100 million budget last summer, he decided to get 3 floor raisers rather than 1 world beater. I hear you, but then maybe you're damned if you do, damned if you don't then. Rangers would have been lit, man. We'll fumble the summer transfer window too. World-class players don't want to come here and not win. You have to win first to attract those players. I must admit, though, and I hear that, but it feels like we got Declan Rice, fair play, but and we did get Jesus and Zinchenko, which at the time they're at City. I know I'm not saying that, but I'm actually saying I might be completely wrong with this, but it feels like when we was in the Europa League, we was getting these decent players a bit more. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm probably making it up, man. Arsenal need another playmaker cam to play with Odegaard so Rice can play in DM. I think we have to accept Rice is playing 8, personally. I don't believe this Zubamendi thing. He rejected Liverpool. Players on the best of days. Unless you're holding my Arsenal shirt, telling me about Omri and Bergkamp, I don't believe it. On the best of days for any footballer. With Zubamendi, fair enough. Mokbel, Romano, Ornstein, it makes me believe it a bit more because they're more credible than the random ITKs and that, with the greatest of respect. But until a man signed, it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant because the man ain't signed. So you can do starting 11s as much as you want. And on top of that, bro, 2025, 26, if Zubamendi signing, we pick that up there. Yeah, in February of the 2024-25 season. I think the ownership sacrificed the season with the aim of replenishing in the summer window. I hear you. I think you're being a bit kind. I think they said, you know what, top 4's on. Safe. I think once they see top 4, safe, they take a back seat, and then it's just an internal battle. Sometimes Arteta will win. Sometimes Edu, when he was here, would win. Sometimes Tim Lewis and them guys would win. Sometimes they're all in agreement. I just think it's too many. In hindsight, I'm starting to think it's too... And I know not everybody is going to have the same idea, and everyone's going to have a different thing, and there's one common goal, and you have to challenge each other and that. But it starts to feel like definitely the last 2 years, or especially, it's too many chefs spoiling the meal, man. If I'm honest with you, man. And I hear you with the 800 million, but like, to be fair, a lot of that was spent to catch up. Our spending has been dwarfed by other clubs. So I think it sounds good, and I'm not cutting excuses. I'm just being extremely honest. What I would say is, for me, in the last 2 years or in this 3-year period that it's become clear we're fighting for a title, this is the money that's been spent here, or all the talking points. This is now where I'm a bit harsh, in which man have failed to deliver. They're in the same way there would be praise if you did. There has to be question marks. It's fun and it's great to say we're all like, we'll go again in that Newcastle in for Saliba. Give us Isaac then. They're putting a lot of pressure on Sesko. If he comes to Arsenal, they're building him up to be the final piece. If that's what we're doing, get Isaac or Gyökeres more proven. Listen, I'm here to talk about Isaac, innit? I'm here for the Isaac shouts, but like, we all know that's not happening. And God, please, Arsenal winning the Champions League and Isaac, if there's 2 things I want to be wrong about, let it be that. But if you ain't got 100, 110, 120, 130, as high as 150, if you're not bidding that, Newcastle not even replying to your text. And that's even with a lot of other things falling into place. No, I'm not having Simeone at Arsenal. I can't lie to you. I'm not on that. I like the siege mentality and all of that. And we're not exactly playing sexy football, but I'm not on the Simeone thing. DG, with Martinelli out for several games, do you think Arteta should change the formation? No, but there has been times in game I thought, you know what, Gaffer, could you change the formation? Essential did have a good cameo. Newcastle, the only English team that can still win the domestic treble. What a madness. Foxy, because you've been trolling a lot, yeah? He's my guy. It's not the idiot trolling that you saw before. But I'm seeing that as agendas. Newcastle to win the treble. We have screenshotted that. We've got him. If Newcastle don't win the treble, boy, run the Kean rumor. We're going to get into that. DG, the glory hunter, repping the Eagles. Brother, we was moving mad yesterday. See how we're moving. What's my man's name? Patrick Holmes, but he's fumbling. For dropping bare sixes, we're just disarming, man. Hey, what's my man, the rookie done? Making a name for himself on his birthday. Philly to the world of, but you see what we're doing from the start. They tried to say Kansas were the favorites. I saw them tweeting about us. I saw Holmes wearing a green tracksuit going into the game. We didn't sleep on the job. We've bought Tom. I swear we've bought Tom Brady and my man in the Super Bowl, and we've won. Big up American Gooner wherever he is, man. I tried to tell him. I was texting him. I was telling him, yo, Philly's doing this shit now. Agreed. All politics in there. Settling for just good enough. There's too many cooks in there. Bro, exactly. The Isaac shout, it's not happening, bro. You need Isaac to make a big song and dance. And you need to put up the peas. And that you need to give him the wages he wants. And that's, it's all fun and games talking about Isaac. I think you need a winger as well. I think clearly the club want a midfielder if we assume Zubimendi. So let's just assume, let's be a bit conservative. Let's not go as high as let's just assume Newcastle want to, say, Isaac said, Newcastle, I want to go to Arsenal. Yeah, cool. Eddie Howe says cool. Let's just say, let's not go as high as 150 million. Let's just say 120. Zubimendi's like 50. So that's 170. You want a winger, that's around 50 odd. So now you're looking at 200. We clearly need a couple of goalies, and we're still linked with that Garcia lad. Garcia's got a 20 odd million release clause. That's the next one. That's without factoring anything else the gaffer wants and any sales, and obviously the wages that come with it. Should have got Isaac when he's at Sociedad. Should have moved heaven and earth to probably go for Isaac last year. Do you know what the funniest thing is, yeah? Some of you, and I can see your usernames, some of you lot were saying at the start of the season, oh my God, Isaac's so great. The season started slowly. Now look. But what Newcastle's shown is that, and I'm pretty sure every Newcastle fan loves Isaac now, rightly so. When they bought him for 80 million, naturally, he wasn't in this realm that he's at now. There was question marks. But what Newcastle did, they did their due diligence. They saw how he could improve. They saw how good he was now and how he can improve because his hold-up play. Isaac's always been good technically, but you go watch him at times at Sociedad. Obviously, he was scoring less goals, but he was weird. He was getting moved to. Now he's strong. He terrorized. Look what he did to Saliba and Gabriel. You haven't seen that happen too many times. They did their due diligence. And that 80 million looks cheap, which is another factor. They spent 80 million on, man. They'll still make a profit. And before that, Isaac obviously went to Dortmund. So you know what Dortmund did. They did their scouting, didn't hit the heights. Sociedad bought him for 10 million, made a quick 70 million profit. So now more than ever, it's about doing your due diligence. You can't always, you either go for the house. If you want to go for the Isaacs and the Yokerezes and Nico Williams and this one and that one, you got to pay the bread. Or you've got to look for those quote-unquote emerging ones. I'm not saying Sesko will be in the same realm as Isaac. But right now, there'll be a lot of Uman and Arin about him, right? About Sesko. In a couple of years, he might look like the guy. Yokerez, everybody would have him now from Sporting. He was at Brighton. He was at Swansea. He was in and around. It happens. Liverpool, I'm sure when they got Mohamed Salah, not everyone was behind the Chelsea flop. They did their due diligence. It's fair to say that the Isaacs, the Salahs, any other one I mentioned, it's fair to say them signings there worked out, innit? Really and truly. It's fair to say, man. And Arteta is the second highest, so he has to pattern up, man. Barca ain't got the peas. He's not leaving anywhere anytime soon. I can't say his name. Is it Ryan just the AC Milan lad? That's the sort of thing I want, man. That profile of number 8 is what I want, but it's not, man. I want to be naive again. We can win the league. We got nothing else, mate. Mahomes have. You're leaving, man. Are we winning a trophy? What is a trophy though? Because if you're asking me whether we'll be at Wembley lifting honours or having a trophy parade in terms of, having some silverware, I can't 100% say yes. But when you see the players improving, seeing them, fight adversity, the last 2 years they've come up short, and I can't accuse them of lacking effort. When there's every reason to stay in your bed and not want to try, and you keep getting up with that same stamina and motivation, as Wenger said, in many ways that's winning a trophy. PRDG in full effect, man. So, you know what? Especially when I do that on Rancy stream, people take me seriously. Again, looking at the news, people. What tab is this? This just seems an Arsenal tab. Allegedly, Saka is due back from injury at the start of March, with Arsenal targeting the Champions League last 16 first leg on March the 4th, 5th, or their trip to face Man United in the Premier League on March the 9th. Hope so, but how fit is he going to be? Despite not playing since the 21st of September, Saka has created more big chances than any other player in the Premier League this season, which, forget in the Premier League, just shows how much we're missing. We're missing our star player. January was a fumble, man. Absolute fumble. At the moment, Saka is at the very least going to miss Leicester, West Ham, Nottingham Forest, and obviously Martinelli's injury. Now, Benjamin White has stepped up his return to Arsenal training as he targets a comeback against Leicester City on Saturday. White has not played for Arsenal since undergoing a minor knee operation in November. And think about everything that's happened since then. But the right back has taken part in training with the squad in Dubai, where the Gunners are spending 6 days to refresh ahead of the start of the Premier League season. So, yeah, man, I think I speak for everyone. The quicker we can get players back, the better. Thank the Lord for Timber. He's had 1-2 injuries this season, but it's been plain sailing. And yeah, we need to look after the quality of our squad. We're being linked with Moise Kean as he's doing quite well for Fiorentina. Apparently, he's impressing in Serie A this season, in his first season at Fiorentina. And there's now rising Premier League interest in the Italian. Apparently, people, Arsenal, Spurs, Aston Villa have been monitoring him. Didn't work out for him at Everton. Not going to kill him for that, but yeah. And this article has continued on that theme with us being linked with Moise Kean, but also again linking us with Lautaro Martinez and Marcus Thuram. I think there's more substance in Lautaro Martinez links than Thuram, but I think this is all nonsense. I mean, we've got to be scouting in it. Like, we've been linked with them 3 players there who can play up front. Atalanta's Rutigi, Vlahovic is, I don't really believe it, but it's still there. Technically Osimhen, who's technically still owned by Napoli in Italy. We've been linked with a number of those players, especially in attacking positions. Nonsense of the day has been us linked with Jota. Arsenal are keen to add more firepower to their attack in the summer transfer window. The Gunners were linked with a move for a new frontman in the January transfer window, but they failed to sign both their transfer targets, Benjamin Sesko of Leipzig and Ollie Watkins. According to Anfield Watch, the North London club are considering a surprise move for Liverpool attacker Jota for the right price. Now, simultaneously, when you go and listen to Liverpool fans on social media, and when you look at some of the rumors, apparently Slot has grown frustrated with Diaz and obviously Jota. I like Jota, be one less player to score against us. But again, Arsenal taxed with injuries. Quality player. For me, I think he'd add something, especially if Liverpool cut us a deal, but he can't stay fit. He's missed 95 matches. We've already got injury-prone players. And in terms of ability, you do well. You lot know me, people. I don't really care about how much people earn, but for a 28-year-old on 140 grand, probably going to get a 3, 4, maybe even 5-year deal, whatever the transfer fee would be. Not that I think Liverpool are going to do this or it's going to be a thing. It's not making sense. He's missed 95 games. The best ability you can have is availability, I guess. Arteta is set to let go of 7 players to fund a huge summer spending spree. The Gunners signed 0 players in the winter market, or better yet, window, despite their obvious issues up front. There's no need to put 0 in caps. We know. But stop showing me pictures of Isaac. Quality player. Love him. Stop showing me this because it's not going to happen, is it? Stop showing me this. Sesko, dot I's and cross T's. It's a Sesko thing. He's better than Isaac. We're ready to be shameless. So yeah, Arsenal will now be armed with a vast amount of cash at the end of the season to strengthen their attacking ranks. We know we're in Dubai. Arteta has said he's disappointed not to bring it forward in. We know Isaac and Sesko are continuously linked with us. We need to cut the wage bill and have a clear out. Is there any substance? Because I'm sure this is the thing. If me and you, if all of us here were journalists, but we're Arsenal fans, there's a lot of players you could go through and make a case they could be sold. Zinchenko, you've lost your place and your contract's running down. I don't agree with it, but Tomiyasu, because you can't stay fit, right? Kivio, you're struggling. Tini, you're gone already, so it makes itself. Partey, deal's running out. Jorginho, deal's running out. You could be shameless and say Moreno wants to run back to Spain. He's not comfortable. We could go through it. Jesus, prior to his ACL, the same. You could even say, you know what, the club are frustrated with Martinelli. Like, these journalists can make up things. Because there's no way of fact-checking this. Everyone's clicking it, but it makes for good talking points. The Magpies want to keep the 25-year-old Swede who has scored 59 goals in 94 games for the tune. 80 million well spent. Apparently, he'll cost 150, and Arsenal won't be the only club interested in him. If City never had Haaland, they go for Isaac. Chelsea are still linked with Isaac. Obviously, Newcastle in a much better place. You never know. It is all relying on Isaac. But right now, Newcastle got a good project. I'm not going to compare him to Alan Shearer, but that's probably a conversation going on. They got a final, so Eddie Howe could say, listen, like, see when PSR is a myth, you see what we're doing. We've held on to Gomares, we've held on to you, we've held on to Tonali. I'm making players that are not in you lot's caliber play well. Just give me at least another year. For Isaac, though, if he does want to, whether it's Arsenal or another club, it's in your best interest beyond finances to not sign that deal. No one's spending 150 million, rightly so. Newcastle are going to price him out of a move, or if they want to sell him, it's got to be something ridiculous. Arteta has sanctioned the departure of 7 first-team stars in order to facilitate a spree. For starters, Loney Raheem Sterling is set to return to Chelsea, and Athletic Bilbao's Nico Williams remains on Arsenal's radar. There'll be major surgery in midfield with Partey and Jorginho out of the contract in the summer. Allegedly, Jorginho is in discussions with Brazilian giants Flamengo over a pre-contract agreement. Notable groundwork has already been done on a 51 million move for Zubamendi, although Real Madrid could yet enter the fray for the Spaniard who snubbed Liverpool last summer. That one there is for Marcel. Rosenberg's 18-year-old Suava Napan is a target that is likely to be revisited this summer after the Norwegian prodigy opted to remain in Scandinavia for an additional 6 months. Tierney will rejoin Celtic on a free transfer. Arsenal will be open to offers for Jakub Kivior. Zinchenko could be lured elsewhere for game time. He was someone that was linked with Atletico Madrid and obviously Dortmund. We don't know how far that went. Maybe we couldn't bring in other players. So we said, you know what, Zini, if you want to leave, you have to cut at the end of the season. Maybe there's a difference between clubs being interested in informal talks to actually bidding and trying to get things done. I guess we'll never know. Zini needs to cut. Lewis Skelly, Calafiori, the option of Tomiyasu and Timber. I think everyone's going for that before Zinchenko, even probably Tierney people. Obviously, Neto was signed as a stopgap. You'd imagine he goes back to Bournemouth. We mentioned Garcia earlier. He's still linked with Arsenal, and we had 2 bids rejected for him last August, which is the reason Neto's here. And even that, this Garcia lad has won Olympic gold with Spain, seen as apparently, I don't watch him enough to be knowing that, being Spain's number 1, and he's in his early 20s. And in the last year or two, he's really just broke into Espanyol's team. I only say that to say this. Now, Raya, for a goalie, is of the right age. For someone like that, of course, you've seen Brighton play 2 goalkeepers, City, at times, they play Ortega and Edison. Obviously, Alisson is the number 1 for Liverpool, but Kelly, if they wanted to, I'm sure he could get some game time. And I don't know if Liverpool sell Alisson and Kelly in the summer. I'd imagine Kelly is gone because they've got that Valencia lad, and focusing on the Valencia lad they're getting to go with Alisson, maybe there's a bit of chopping and changing there. I only mention that to say, cool, it's all fun and games getting this Garcia lad, but how long is he going to want to be the number 2? Because no matter what Arteta told us about Ramsdale, he might live up to that with an ex-player, but really, we all know goalkeepers are not going to be rotated on a consistent basis. And I'm not saying Raya isn't going to be sold, but then you look at what I've said and being devil's advocate, we've seen Arteta, the goalies don't really have a long shelf life. It seems like Raya is the one that's going to have the longest. Could that be something? Arsenal splashed the cash on their backline in recent transfer windows, and further defensive reinforcements are likely to be dependent on outgoings, with Ajax's João Hato on their radar. I think he goes elsewhere. That's your long-term Van Dijk replacement, Liverpool. Chelsea are linked with him as well. Real Madrid are linked with him. I'd love Arsenal to do it, but you get the point. We all know Jason Ito is on an interim basis. Apparently, he's a strong candidate to get the job permanently. Simultaneously, we have heard reports that we want a more experienced guy. Arsenal faced the prospect of another trophy this season after they were knocked out of both domestic cups. And our Premier League hopes are fading as the club sits 6 points behind Liverpool. Oh, this article's horrible, isn't it, really? Arsenal's interest in Hato cooled, according to TBR Football. We're not going for him anymore, people. That's just Sky Sports. We've gone over the 7 players thing. Once again, Arsenal and Spurs are considering a move for Moise Kean. Arsenal have expressed an interest in signing both Aston Villa duo Jacob Ramsey and Ollie Watkins. You would have seen Ramsey scored yesterday against Spurs. Good way to endear yourself. We're still looking at allegedly Jota. Liverpool are willing to sell the 28-year-old for the right fee because of injury issues. With what we faced this season and the Arsenal tax, I don't think it makes sense then, does it? Apparently, Man United are set to rival Arsenal to sign Atalanta forward Matteo Retegui. The 25-year-old has done well for Atalanta. He's got 23 goals in 33 appearances. I'm sure he scored a hat-trick recently. He's set to command a fee of between 50 to 60 million euros. Don't know whether to take that in. Real Madrid apparently have made a record-breaking move for William Saliba, according to RMC Sport. I mean, he's going to go there one day. don't think anytime soon. We're reportedly monitoring Jacob Ramsey's progress at Aston Villa. We've been linked with him for years. We've gone over the Yotta business. Is there anything else? I mean, half of these rumors are nonsense. And when has this website ever been right about anything? But it does make for good content. Arsenal, Liverpool, and Manchester United are all pursuing a move to sign 20-year-old Eintracht Frankfurt midfielder Hugo Larsson. Mislintat has been sacked from his Dortmund role after 10 months in the role. Seems like he's always going somewhere and then leaving people. I'm sure he returned to Stuttgart. I mean, should we bring him back to Arsenal? No, I'm joking, man. I'm joking. We've gone over that. Apparently, there was interest in Zinchenko from two of the biggest clubs in Europe, but Arsenal received no offers. So the Dortmund and the Atletico thing, they didn't bid. So how far does that go? I'm not sure, people. I'm sure you would have seen Harry Kane being linked with a return to the Premier League and signing for Arsenal. That's not going to happen. He's not going to be the modern day Sol Campbell. And definitely beyond the obvious, even when you just look at his age, the finances involved in that, as good as Kane is, it's a myth. Arsenal and Chelsea are apparently interested in Isak. He's set to open contract talks with Newcastle. The Magpies are keen on retaining the Swede. It'd be music to my ears if they wasn't, but there'd be serious problems if they wasn't trying to keep hold of him. Arsenal, Chelsea, Barcelona all chasing his signature. You'd imagine Chelsea have the money to front it up. Barcelona would have to do some dodgy accounting. Arsenal, forget it, man. He's on 120 grand a week. I mean, we could give him more than that. It's the price tag, though. Less said about that, the better. Again, we know we're not getting Harry Kane, but if you like foolishness, you like foolishness, innit? Thomas Tuchel and his staff are closely monitoring Miles Lewis-Skelly and his impressive development under Arteta. Internal discussions started about a potential call as part of the England squad for the upcoming international break in March, people. So we can always live in hope. We got 9 more likes until we hit 100, man. We're linked with Jota. We got so ridiculous. On ability, I'm having him, but it's not making sense. The reason Arteta wants Sesko because he wants a yes man. Havertz understudy. Havertz is missing sitters and can't change a game with goals. Then what good is Havertz? Where was he versus United and Newcastle? He's not alone, to be fair. I mean, bring Sesko in it. Everyone's getting linked with how you'd imagine he goes. I reckon Zubimendi. I don't know what Zubimendi's gonna do, in fact, man. But come man, every 1 minute I'm going Liverpool, I'm going Real Madrid, I'm going United, I'm going Bayern, I'm going Arsenal. I'll believe it when I see it, man. When Kelly leaves Liverpool, it's to be a number one somewhere. He's good enough to be a number one. It's just Pete. Yeah, this is, I can't say his name, but I'll attempt it. Mamadoshvi. Yeah, that's the lad. That's the goalie that Liverpool are signing. And again, I don't know if that means it's Alisson's last year. I don't know if they're going to fight with the two because we've seen it. Arsenal have had a couple. Leno and Ramsdale. Leno and Ramsdale and Raya. Cech and Courtois. Well, Cech and somebody at Arsenal. I can't remember who, but Cech and Courtois at Chelsea, it don't really last long, innit? It's about 6 months to a year at best. Looking like Sesko, Zubimendi, Napang, Garcia, and a versatile attacker right now. We are linked to the world. Obviously, life is coming soon for Lewis-Skelly, but at the end of the day, go get your England call up, man. It just shows that life can change very quickly in a matter of weeks. It tells you to keep working. And it's the stuff of dreams. Like, you're playing for Arsenal Football Club, you're playing in the Champs, you get called up by the nation. Obviously, trophies are required as well. All this after the window closes, man. Isak and Shearer best friends. You'd be naive to believe that, but ain't going. And yeah, I don't believe the Jota thing, man. Like, you're going mad. By the way, I know it's DG's guy, but gee, it's time for Martinelli to be elsewhere. I love Martinelli, but it's a squad thing. Ugo Take is doing his thing. I'd rather Sesko, though. Jesus going to be like a new signing when he comes back from illness. I thought we got rid of that, man. Arsenal need to sign 2 centre forwards. I hear you, but we ain't signing no 2 centre forwards, a winger, a centre mid, and everything else. Like, there's no, you know what? It's weird because if we sign a striker, I don't necessarily think we sign a winger. If we sign a winger, I don't necessarily think we sign a striker. Have you seen Saka's scar? No, I haven't, man. I haven't. But let that be a battle wound is what I'm trying to say. In my opinion, Arsenal has a better chance at winning the league over the Champs, but realistically, they ain't winning either, and it'll be top 4 battle until the end of the season. And yeah, at the end of the day, Mikel Arteta is the second highest paid manager in the Prem. He is being rated to the high heavens, so ultimately, you got to be held accountable, innit, really? Man say shameless glory hunting DJ here for it. Bro, I got to get glory somewhere between Chicago Bulls and Arsenal. It's stressing it. So Philly is my thing. Yeah, man. So it's not going to last. Don't want Liverpool rejects. I just don't think we're in for Jota because, as Marcel said, don't look like a credible source. I'm having Jota at Arsenal. Just in terms of if we just looked at his ability, what I've seen you do on the pitch, I'm having that as part of the squad. I'm having that. But then the injuries, the injuries probably stopped him showing a bit more at Liverpool. And you add in Arsenal tax with injuries, we're never going to see. You'll be best mates with Tomiyasu and historically Tierney, as mad as that is to say. It's a myth. It's a myth. Ain't going to happen, man. It ain't going to happen. I ain't getting excited. A Bulls fan, brother. You're allowed to switch teams. Nah, man. We Chicago Bulls to the death, man. One day we're going to get playoffs, man. You lot didn't think Big Meech was going to come home. You didn't think Vibes Cartel was going to come home. Trust me, Bulls are going to be in the playoffs this year. Don't clip that. It's AI. Anything can happen. What happens to the money we got for Smith and Eddie as that wasn't spent? You got to ask the accountants, man. Guys love asking you who would you buy, but when you start writing off names, people start using terms like Farmers League and Prem Proof and can't stand to have conversations. Truth is, we got no clue who's responsible for the lack of transparency, so everyone in the club has to be held accountable. There you have it, bro. Everyone has to hold licks. It's as simple as that for me anyways, man. The bad news, people, is that I'm going to end this stream here. The good news is that at 4 p.m., so that's 53 minutes, I'm going to be here with Tom Canton. Obviously, it's a chance for me to pick his brains and me to just shut up about stuff, man. A man said Bulls fan in 2025, got to wait another decade for a deep playoff run. When it happens, remember who told you, innit, man? Good thing I was about to say good thing I'm mainly a football fan, which is true, but Arsenal have been stressing me out. Between Arsenal, England, Brazil, Chicago Bulls, it's peak everywhere, man. It's peak everywhere. It's peak everywhere. So yeah, man, you lot big up yourselves with your donations, your super chats, those of you that are mods, your support across YouTube and Twitch. If you're on Twitch, don't forget Amazon Prime, your differences of opinions, your thought processes, you lot bullying the trolls. It's a family thing here, man, and appreciative to all of you lot around the world. If you're new here, you know you need to subscribe. If you're part of the furniture, you know I'm always appreciative of that, man. So yeah, yo, DG, why you not linking up with Troops for the North Bank show? Shout out Troops, man. You gotta get Troops. You gotta get on to Troops. It's Troops' channel, it's Troops' show. You gotta get on to Troops. That's a Troops question. Get on to him, man. Big up Troops, though, man. But yeah, on that note, people.
Against this right back, Charlie's definitely.
Always